Ryan here with Prudential Pest Solutions. And this yellow jacket nest was created inside of one of those plastic deck boxes that you see. And the homeowner opened up to get, to get something out of it, and they were shocked. And thankfully, they weren't injured by these things because, these yellow jackets can be quite aggressive. So, a whole lot of them out and about right now. They're fixing and building their nest here. And we could see that, it's kind of unique in the sense of where they built the nest inside of this deck box, but also the shape of it. It's not really round or ball-like in shape. It's really long. And as you'll see later in the video, the bulk of the nest is in that yellow flower pot there. So of course I'm all suited up. I got my camera going, and we're going to use our favorite aerosol killing agent called PTPI, and we're going to get these things treated and get all of this cleaned up and out of here. And this house was in Leesport, Pennsylvania, which is in Berks County in southeastern Pennsylvania, if you're curious as to where this took place. And we could see, it's the middle of the day. They're very active right now. And when we treat and remove, there were just a ton of them flying around. Now, you'll read online that, the best time to do these is at night and when they're all in the nest. And, yeah, that's all well and good. But when you use products like that we have, you can do it anytime, day or night. And when we're all finished here and this nest is treated and removed, we're going to do a topical spray just to kill off any of the stragglers. So you can see that I'm injecting directly into the nest. And then shortly we will start taking it apart. And you can see that's where I poke through. And I was trying to get a sense of where the bulk was. Because you'll see that paper just opens right up, and there's just hundreds of these stinging insects in there. So the more areas I expose, and especially what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the actual combs of the brood cells, because that tells me that's the bulk of the nest. So I was kind of poking and prodding just to see where, because you don't want to just treat inside of the paper. So although this nest looks massive, the bulk of it's really confined to just that yellow flower pot. You can see I'm just going to remove and get that out of there. And then we'll start scraping paper away and opening up the nest and making sure everything's treated, and we'll get it all cleaned up. So it's pretty clever how they did that. How they made the nest inside of there like that. So the rest of that is just paper. And what's interesting too with whether it's yellow jackets, bees, wasps, hornets, whatever, is when I actually removed the nest from where it was mounted, the yellow jackets don't follow the nest. They go back still to where the nest used to be, which is fortunate for us, because as we're working here, we don't want to just get swarmed by a bunch of yellow jackets. And there's the bulk of it. So you can still see shovels in there. It's actually two flower pots inside of one another that was just stored in there, like we all do at our home. We store stuff. And these yellow jackets decided, hey, you know what? That's where we're gonna make our home. So even the handles of the little shovel there, that has paper on it. All of that, there's no comb in any of that. That's just the nest to protect them, because this lid was closed typically, so they were coming in at one of the creases, and then they were building that protective paper until it got to the bulk of the nest. Which again is very fortunate for these folks that when they open that up, that they didn't just get swarmed by these things and get absolutely stung up. So that was a good thing that they didn't. But they opened it up and they were like, oh my goodness, we got to call Prudential Pest right away. So this is a pretty typical day for us. We're this time of year, so this took place in August. From August through October, myself and my guys, we probably do 4 on average a day each. So this is kind of business as usual for us. But we're going to get all this emptied out, cleaned up. I like to kind of set it all out so we can see really how big this was. Look how many tiers that is. It's enormous. And you could also tell just from the sheer amount of workers that they had that this was a very active nest. All the white caps there would have all been, all the white stuff on there. You can see all the dead ones in there. All that white there is, that's like a cap that they put on. So all those would have been new yellow jackets. And again, we can see a bunch of the workers still flying around like, hey, where's my house at? It's over here. But again, I always find it interesting that they don't go to the nest. They go to where the nest used to be. So even though I'm working within 2 feet of where they are, they're not on me at all. And this is the other bucket, again, just full of dead yellow jackets, which is what we want. So again, when this is all said and done, we're going to get it all cleaned up. We're going to spray. I think for this one we used Talstar P, which is bifenthrin, as our topical spray. It's a contact kill insecticide, and I was doing that because we were treating some of their trees for something else. So if you have a wasp issue, yellow jackets, hornets, bees, I want to be your guy.